Hi guys. So tonight Michael is going to be hosting our call and she's going to be talking about the process of how she invites people and gets people on the phone. And a lot of people are very stuck in their ways. They're very stuck um, doing everything through Facebook Messenger. One thing that really changed my business in 2015 was I started getting on the phone with people. And people can, when you're yourself and you've got like inflection in your voice, people can hear you and people want to join your team. You can laugh with them and, people just can connect with you more. So definitely voice messages have made, Facebook better. But also what I think about this, one time my Facebook account got locked. They said something like, we don't think this is you. We think you're an imposter. And I had to like send a picture of my driver's license and everything to like Facebook. I was locked out. Yeah. I was locked out for like a day and a half. And I thought, holy cow, like my business is on Facebook. I lost all of my contacts. And so you need to have a backup system because Facebook is not your database because Facebook could go away at any given time. Now, no, I don't foresee that happening, but it's not okay to just rely on Facebook. So I really encourage you to use Wufoo or something, it can be free to start capturing emails and phone numbers from people. As you're working with people, get them to sign up for a free Beachbody membership. Get them to sign up for, that free membership, and they can even get like Clean Week, or maybe they'll get the 7-day sample if they want to purchase that. So the more that you can do that, because then you'll have their emails, when in your Beachbody website. So that's another reason why I just love the idea of getting people on the phone. And Michael will tell you as well that, it's a lot more like, hey, okay, look, are you near a computer? Can I walk you through signing up? And that's what my coach did to me. She was like, hey, do you have a computer? Can I walk you through signing up? I signed up as a coach while I was on the phone with her. And like, why would you not do it? Because a lot of times people even have problems with the website anyway, so you might as well be there with them. Or, you could also do a Zoom. Well, I probably wouldn't do a Zoom. I was going to say share a screen. I probably wouldn't do that because your credit card information. But also, mobile enrollment is amazing. So I would say, okay, yeah, great. So what flavor do you want? And do the mobile enrollment so that then it makes it a little more easier for them as well. So Michael is amazing. It is so funny how we came to know each other. She started off as one of my coaches. And I remember getting on the phone with her. And this is so funny because Michael, I remember the first time I got on the phone, I was like, wow, she has like such a mature voice. I remember thinking, I really like talking to her. I really like her voice. But I feel like it surprised me that we were the same age because I felt like I was like, she really seems like she has her shit together. So I don't think I've ever.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But, so she ended up being one of my coaches, and then that coach kind of fizzled out, and then she came back later with another of my coaches. Then again fizzled out, and then I have her. So she's gone through 3 coaches now, and 3 times the charm because you're not allowed to leave me ever. So
no.
So, but yeah, Michael is just the sweetest mama ever. So I'm excited for her to chat with us about what she says, the inviting process, and how to get on the phone with people. So go ahead, girl.
All right, guys. So this is kind of really new to me. I just really started doing this probably about 3 weeks ago. And honestly, my husband had something to do with it, which I would never think that. But we were talking and I was telling him about how I needed to really get more personal with people and I wanted to really build those relationships with people. And he was like, well, aren't you going to that Super Saturday event coming up? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to go to that. And I was telling him I'm going with other coaches. He was like, why don't you invite people to go with you? And that was kind of the start for me on like, okay, so he's exactly right. That community and showing people like a real person and letting them hear your voice and like seeing everything that's going on, like that's what draws people in. They want to see that community aspect. It's a lot of times what people's missing from their life, and they crave that kind of community. And so when he said that, I was like, yes, like I need to start building a relationship from the very beginning, not using like text or messages. I need to use my voice instead, because that's what's missing from today's world. We're all just like focused on technology, and to set ourselves apart from everything else, I think that we have to be more personal. And so I'm just going to kind of talk about how I have changed my entire system to be more personable with people. Okay, I got all my notes here for you guys. So I'm a complete nerd when it comes to this stuff. Okay. Let's see. So I started with just the basics. So you add friends to your Facebook every day, and I still form them. But what I do is I use the voice message instead of typing out the words. So even before I even go to inviting or following up or anything like that, I actually form them using my own voice. So it's nice to, just go onto their message or onto their page and just look at their, what's going on, maybe their family life, and be like, hey girl, I hope, having a good day. I see that you have a daughter. My daughter just turned 1. Isn't it crazy how fast time goes? And when I send that voice message, I feel like people don't really receive a lot of those in Facebook Messenger at all. And so it intrigues them. And so they play it and they listen to it. And if you talk to somebody with excitement and you're smiling when you're talking to them, then they can feel that. And I have literally done this for all of my new people that I've added to Facebook, and I've gotten responses from a ton of them, which is like the opposite effect of what I have been doing from the past, because you can send a message and people ignore it like real easy. But when you send that voice text and they were like, oh, you're like an actual person, like you just started talking to me like I'm, like we're friends already. They want that. They want that closeness. I think they go for that personal relationship. So I begin, being a real person from the beginning now. So I form people with the voice messages. And what's nice is that, yes, it's more personable, but it also saves you time. I can do it while I'm walking around with Adeline. I do it while I'm letting the dogs outside. I do it while I'm in the car. It's a lot easier for me, like than having to sit down and type everything out. And, my stupid phone too, like it makes up these words and I end up sending things I don't mean. And it's just too much, especially with one hand holding a baby on one hip and trying to text with one hand. So this voice messaging thing is like a game changer for me. So that's the first thing I do is I actually start forming them with the voice messenger. And what's nice too is if you do something kind of general, you can actually copy that and forward it to other people. So, make it personable, but also if you're going to send it to like 3 people and they all have daughters, then you can kind of do that. So you don't have to say the same thing over and over and over again. So another way you're saving time. When I get to the point of inviting, I am actually changing that up as well. I've decided that I'm only going to start inviting people that are liking and commenting on certain posts that I have. This has worked so much better for me because it's not as random, I feel like, and I feel like people are already more responsive because they've already made that first move of commenting or liking the post. So they're already somewhat interested, or they're interested in what I'm doing, or they're encouraging me in what I'm doing. So it's really nice that I actually have less of a fear of going into the inviting process because I already know that they're interested in what I posted. So it's a lot easier for me. But the same way I use the voice messaging because it's a lot easier and it shows your excitement. Like when I talk to people, I make sure I'm saying like, hey girl, thank you so much for the love on my post, because you know what? It's really hard to share those deep feelings. I have a hard time sharing that. And every time I see you commenting, it just gives me that relief that I need. And, just start asking them about their day. I just try to make it super normal. And I tend to be a little dramatic of a person. When you get to know me, I'm very sarcastic and I use my hands when I talk and, all this stuff. So I think that my voice really portrays that when I am using that voice messaging system. So I think that it helps me to connect better with those people, especially with inviting. And I like that it's a little less scripted than if you were sending out an actual, text or message. So I actually invite only those people that comment or like on my post. And sometimes I'm not even using like a fitness or health post to do that. I've actually been using that video that I posted the other day. Anybody that liked or commented, I made sure to reach out, because if I can relate to them on a personal level, especially when it's something real like, miscarriage or maybe even just having trouble getting pregnant, that kind of thing. If I can relate to somebody, then that's the basis of the relationship that I want to build. And I think that's where everything starts. You have to have a good foundation with people, and you want them to be able to trust you. And if I can give them any advice too, I mean, that's just another plus, because you want to help people no matter what, whether it's health and fitness or whether it's something personal. So either way, I actually have been doing the voice messages for that last post as well, which has been really good. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing with inviting. When they show interest after I send that voice message and they want to know more information about joining the boot camp, or talking about Shakeology, if they're interested in trying a sample or something, this is where I immediately stop, and I'm just like, it's like, you know what, girl, like, I have just been super busy. Like, let's get on the phone. What's your number and what's your email, and let's set something up. And I really don't kind of give them a chance to say no. I just kind of tell them, I'm like, hey, you know what, let's just do this, because it's a lot easier. It's quicker for me. I'm running around with the baby. I'm sure you're busy too. This will make it much easier for us to connect. And 8 times out of 10 so far this past week, I've had success with that, with people saying, yeah, you know what, let's get on the phone. And again, I think it's nice and it's refreshing for people to see that. I don't think that people see that anymore. And I mean, you want to bring that freshness back. You want them to know that you're serious about the business and you're serious enough to get on the phone with them. It's like you're making an appointment with them. This is your business. You treat it like a business. If you were at work, you'd be using the phone all the time. This is the exact same kind of thing. You want to do the same thing with them. So treat it like a business. Schedule the appointment. I do get the email and the phone number. And honestly, like I said, a lot of people, they don't really turn me down very much, especially if they're really interested in it. It's not like I'm sending them a link and saying, hey, sign up. It's, something, it's totally casual. And I think that, they'll be able to ask as many questions as they want. So it's been really good for me so far. But also I wanted to point out, you kind of have to remain in control. I think I've already kind of said this, but you want to make sure that you're not allowing them to say, oh, well, I'll call you, or I don't know about my lunch break, so I'm not sure what time. Make sure you set a time. So if they can't actually give you a time, maybe during the day or something, kind of make it work. If that day doesn't work, then move on to the next day. You want to have an actual appointment set instead of having it up in the air. So take control and make sure you have control of the actual call and the appointment that you're setting for that. Before I get on the call with them, I do call, I actually text them. I use that number that they gave me, and I text them and I confirm the scheduled appointment, just like you would if you were going to the dentist office, or if you were, somewhere else. They call you to make sure you're confirming. I'm putting in time and they're putting in time, so I want to confirm, make sure that they're on for that. So I do text using that number, or I could send them an email, but I find that texting is just easier. Oh, and when I send the text, this is funny, but when I send the text, I make sure I use emojis and exclamation points and talk about how excited I am about getting on the phone with them and talking about this opportunity they have. Depending on the type of person, if they're interested in the Shakeology, then I'll mention something about how I can't wait to explain all the good stuff that's in this. I make it so that I am excited to get on the phone with them. I do think that, I'm just a dramatic person in general. I use exclamation points all the time, but there are some people who just don't do that. So I want to make sure that I am portraying to them that I am excited about talking to them about this. And it also makes them a little bit harder to cancel on you too, because you are showing them how excited you are about it. And you're like, oh, I'm so excited. I blocked out this time. My mom's taking the baby so I can call and talk to you. And and that's true. You're putting aside stuff during your day or during your normal routine so you can give them this opportunity and answer their questions. So, don't feel guilty about doing that if you have to. It's something that, any business would do. So just go for it. So yeah, I do send them that, and I tell them oh, I'm so glad we're able to get on the phone. And then when I get on the phone with them, again, you want to smile. I find that it also helps with me feeling a little uncomfortable. I'm not great with being on the phone, but if I go into it already smiling, it kind of helps me to not feel as anxious myself. And I know that it's portraying to them that I'm not, I'm confident. If I'm smiling and I'm trying to show them that, I think it makes them more comfortable as well. So the first thing I do, believe it or not, is I ask them about their normal daily routine, um, because you want to start with talking about them. You want to start talking about something that they're comfortable talking about. And the normal daily routine is something easy that anybody can explain. And what's great about it is that you'll actually find out so much information about their life using that daily routine. So you'll probably find out like where their pockets of time are. You'll find out where they struggle maybe with having to get a meal in. You'll know about their family life. So if they're coming home and they're getting ready for practice and dropping this kid off there and going there, then that's something you can use with Shakeology and, you know, be like, oh, this is a great way to put that in there. So all of those little tools that you're getting during their daily routine that they're telling you is actually helping you to set up for, you know, the Beachbody On Demand and the Shakeology that you'll eventually get to talking about. So you ask them about their day, to make them comfortable, and so that you can get all the information without asking them 1,500 questions and making the phone call last an hour and a half. So I definitely recommend starting with that. And what's nice too is that, you know, you'll kind of see where their excitement lies. You'll kind of see if they make time for themselves. I know sometimes when I get on the phone with people and I ask them about their day, it kind of starts with a sigh, like a, okay, like my day. And immediately you know that they're probably exhausted. So right then and there, they need Shakeology in their life, and maybe some Energize. So, you know, you can tell a lot too on the phone by the way people use their own voice. If they're unhappy with their life, they're not going to be talking like you and I would be talking here. They're going to be probably talking a little slower, you know, probably lower tones. You just, you know, you can tell when they're happy and unhappy. So you can tell a lot by the way a person sounds on the phone too, which you can't get through Facebook Messenger or a text or anything. So after we talk about the day, I do ask about goals, but I try to focus on the non-scale victory goals. So the way I kind of pinpoint that is my favorite go-to is, so, okay, at the end of your current day, like your normal day, like that you had, you know, yesterday, how do you feel? So do you feel completely exhausted at the end of the day? Do you feel like you're fulfilled at the end of the day? Do you feel like you're just simply going through the motions? Like you just have no, you know, excitement about life anymore? And there are those people, you know, that have that. So when I ask them how they feel, they kind of take a minute most of the time, because I don't think that anybody really asks them how they feel at the end of their long day. You know, so I ask them about that, and you can really get an idea on what their goals will be by how they're feeling at the end of the day. So they're getting, you know, they're busy all day, then you know that they probably need some time for themselves. That 30 minutes in the morning for them can start their day off a whole lot better. Or I know a lot of night workout people, which I am not one of those people, but you know, more power to you who work out at night. But if you are, then that's a great way to end your day. That's 30 minutes of you time at the end of the day. So I kind of use their answer to how they feel to kind of help them to choose non-scale goals, because I want to make sure that I tell them that it's not just about the number, and that I want to focus on making them happy first and healthy. So happy and healthy. You know, the number is not of my concern. So I ask them about that first, and then a lot of times when I do say goals, they do give me numbers that they want to lose, and that's great, because that kind of is when I can begin talking about the Beachbody On Demand, and I can talk about the Shakeology. But I talk about how I focus on what they would need to, let me say this correctly. I don't want to screw this up. So don't focus on what they would need to change, but how Shakeology and Beachbody On Demand can help them. So you want to provide them answers. You don't want to, you know, add more to their plate by saying, well, you can add this in and it's, you know, 30 minutes a day. Well, if you say it like that, then it looks like to them that they have to add something into their already crazy lifestyle. So what you need to say is something different, where something like, oh, well, since you're running around after school all the time, then, you know, that Shakeology is perfect for you, because it takes a minute to make, it tastes good, and it's your healthiest meal of the day. You know, can't go wrong with that. And it's less than $4. You know what I mean? So it's the way that you talk to them about the Beachbody On Demand and the Shakeology, which I don't really want to get too far into, because Melissa had a great talk about that just last week, I think. I don't even remember. But she had a great talk on the call about how to discuss that and how to get people, interested in that. So I do recommend you listen to that call if you haven't already, to get that, because I don't want to focus a whole lot on it. But, it is the way that you portray the workouts and the Shakeology to them and the nutrition. Talk about how on Sunday nights you take, a half hour, 45 minutes and prep for the week, and it will save them so much time during the week. Make sure you show them that it's not going to make their life more difficult. It's going to make it easier, and they're going to be healthier and feel better, after all of that. So when you're on a phone with them, it's great because, once you start relating that to them, you can kind of hear them realizing how good this could be for them. And that's wonderful to me because, once I hear that, I become more confident. And I'm like, you know what? Like, yes, like you would benefit by this. And I just kind of get rolling. Like once I get talking, I just kind of keep going. So when they show that interest and they're like, oh, you're right. Like that would really save me a lot of time. Or yeah, I really need that 30 minutes of, yoga stretching in the morning. Like that would just be the perfect start to my day. Then I get more confident and I begin to talk more like myself. So I think that hearing them and knowing that they are feeling good about it, it helps me to continue with, not pushing them, but just like giving them information. Because when you are doing it on Facebook Messenger, it does kind of look like you just keep prodding them for more and more and more on Facebook Messenger. But when you're talking to them on the phone, it's not like that. It's a conversation between people. So it's not like you're bothering them or you're having to keep going back and back and follow up and follow up. This is just one-time phone call, and it's so much easier. And I think it's gotten my confidence up with being able to share what I do easier as well. I do want to say that I have been doing this, and I've had 2 new coaches in the past, I think 8 days. I've had 2 new coaches, and one of them was from a phone call. And then one of them was from my next point that I'm going to make. And I actually had somebody who's going to sign up next week. So as a coach and a challenger, she's actually brand new to everything. And it's just because I think that they have that personal connection with me. Like I've made that connection with them, and it started with performing. So my last point that I want to make is kind of what I talked about when I first started with what Ray said, but you want to get people to events if you can. So I invited one of my new coaches, her name is Lisa, to Super Saturday what was that, 2 weekends ago? I don't even remember. But the most recent Super Saturday, I invited anybody in my challenge group to. In Pittsburgh, the tickets for a guest were $5 a piece. And it's something that I knew if I got people there and they did the workout with everybody and they saw that positive atmosphere and they saw how it was like a family, there's no judgment, it's all encouragement, it's all inspirational. And I knew that if I got people there, like Ray said, like it would make an impact on them and they would see the true community that Beachbody is. Like I talk about the Beachbody bubble all the time because that's what it is. Like I don't even, know what negativity is anymore in my life because I just have none of it. I'm surrounded by people who want to be better. And so I took people there. And Lisa was in tears like 3 or 4 times throughout it. And I've been talking to her for a while. And that next week she signed up as a coach. She was like, I know that I'm not where I want to be and I don't know where to go, but I know this is where I want to start. And so she signed up because she saw that community aspect. And it's hard to explain that to people it's just hard to explain that to people. People don't know that there are actually good people still in the world. They really don't, because it's not talked about on the TV or, it's talked about on Facebook on my Facebook profile and probably all of yours. But, I think that it's not talked about enough. There's not enough good that's out there. And people need to see that there are all these people who are literally behind them. Like, it's just amazing to me. So the community is what I wanted to talk about last, because if you have a challenger, what I've been doing too is if I have a new challenger and I want to have them, do some kind of event, but a Super Saturday is not coming up, I've been doing like the Zoom workouts that April's been mentioning before. I've been like, hey, jump on a workout with me. Like, let's do this. What time is good for you? And it works out nice because I am staying at home as a mom, so I can do any time during the day. It may be crazy and Adeline may be running around and messing everything up like she does, but them being on that Zoom with me and us working out together, it gives them that taste of what the accountability group can do for them. So it's a great way for me to kind of be like, oh, and one more thing, let's do this so that you can get an idea, or, anything like that. So I recommended that. And if you have a coach who is kind of waiting to sign up, or, on the board, I have been actually sharing the video from our retreat that everybody did together. And it is kind of long, but I tell them, I was like, but you won't feel like you're watching like a scripted video. Like, it's like literally a group of us just talking and really just explaining how much we love what we do. And people watch it. And I think that they go into it thinking that they won't watch the whole thing, but they watch the whole thing because, one, it's hilarious. And two, I mean, the laughter and like just the bond that you can see between all of us, it's just contagious. Like they want that. And I've had one lady come back because of that video. So I think that you have to make sure you're giving them that sense of community that Beachbody gives, is, my last kind of point, because that's the hardest thing to get across. And when people get that, it's contagious and they want it. And that's how this Beachbody bubble keeps getting bigger. So yeah, I think that's about everything that I wanted to talk about. I liked that April was saying that she kind of says, oh, if they're going to sign up right on the phone, then get them to a computer and sign up with them. I think that's a great thing. I've never done that. But like I said, this is all pretty new to me. It's only been a few weeks in the making, but I've seen great success from it. So I'm hoping that these tips help you guys. I think that's about it.
I seriously felt like I the whole time was just like nodding my head. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So good. It's so funny because sometimes I'm like sitting here and I'll like hear like when you guys host calls, I'm like, man, these guys are such good coaches. I should really be a better coach.
I'll get out of here.
So I love that. There's so many nuggets. I can't even like think of one specific thing. I was thinking that there was one thing that I wanted to say, but I can't think of it. Does anybody have any questions or anything to add? So good though. I mean, it's so true.
Oh,
like,
thanks.
when people hear your voice and they know it's, I loved when you were talking about like the new people you add and instantly sending a message. And, I do it where I do it that it's, that voice message, I do it so that it's personable, but not too specific. Like Michael said, that I can forward it to 5 different people. And, just that initial, like, hey girl, thanks so much for the love on my post, kind of thing, that I make it kind of like general to different moms. So I can send to like the 10 people that, commented on it or something like that. And it's just so time, like it just saves so much time, like she said. So yeah, I agree. Getting on the phone and treating your business like a business. Tell people like, okay, and following up and reminding people, because that's the biggest thing. And I've also realized that in real estate too, is like people are just so forgetful and like they don't appreciate your time like you do. So you can't expect people to remember. So you need to do the, hey, hour, 30 minutes before, whatever. Hey, I'm so excited. I just dropped off the baby at my mom's, whatever. Kind of like, let them be known that you made your day, you scheduled to make time for them and you're excited. And they'll respect your time a lot more. And you don't have to feel bad about that. And, the same thing is like, you respect their time. So it's important for them to understand that this is a business and you're a mom and you got stuff to do. But yeah, I loved everything you said. I think this was so helpful. And I love that you were so specific in how you talk to people. Cause I think that so many new coaches think getting on the phone and they think, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to talk about. I don't even know, what a coach does. And the best thing that you can do is not try to go off a script and not try to sound like you know everything. Cause when somebody asks you something that you don't know, because you're a new coach, all you have to say is, girl, I spit on myself. Girl, I don't know. Hashtag anyone could be a coach. Let me ask my coach and I'll get back to you. The beauty of this business is like, you don't need to know everything. You literally just have to be yourself and work on yourself. And I think the best thing you can do is kind of at the end of the conversation, say, so, I hear so much of what you're saying, and that, I'm so excited to, celebrate your, whatever they have a big goal, maybe like I want to be able to, I've had somebody say something like, I want to be able to fit in the slide and go down the slide with my kid. Like something as simple as that, you know what I mean? And you can say like, I can't wait to, see videos of you playing with your son at the playground. And, I know that's going to happen for you. And when you can connect with that really big why that's not a scale victory, like Michael said, that's when the magic happens. So you could kind of end it with that and then say, all right, so, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? So I can figure out what's the best Shakeology flavor for you. What's your email? If you don't have that already, you should have that when you get the other information like Michael does. And then just mobile enrollment and say, okay, I just want to make sure we did just update our coach website. You could say this forever. It's fine. They won't know. But we are in the process of updating our coach website, so I just want to make sure that you get it. Can you double check and let me know if you have an email from Beachbody right now? Okay, great. Go ahead and click on that, and then let me know if you have any issues. You can actually put your payment and your shipping information in all right now. And so, like, what do they have to lose? So if somebody's really not sold on it, you could say, girl, I want you to know that if at any time you decide that coaching is not for you, it is, depending, and you can say the same thing for, challenge or whatever. But for coaching in particular, I say if at any time it's not for you or it's too much or it's too hectic, the beauty of this business is you can work as much or as little as you want. And if you want to focus on you, that makes you a better coach. It makes you a better coach when you're focusing on your results. So don't stress over, having my sister, or my friend Melissa, she started as a coach when she had 110 pounds to lose. So she very well could have waited until she was at her ideal weight. But, that would have been 2.5 years of people that she wasn't inspiring when she was doing that. That's why it's so important to listen to other coach stories. And I was actually thinking this the other day that what I want to do is maybe not do really like a topic, just kind of talk about like either something that Beachbody's done for you, something that Shakeology's done for you. And I want to do testimonials from us all that we can use those when somebody gives us an objection, because it's a beautiful thing to say, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally understand that. My Coach Heather was, working and she was just so unhappy with herself. And, what she's found is, the Shakeology and the workouts have helped her to lose. How many pounds have you lost now, you crazy woman? I don't even know. 35?
37. Yeah.
37. That's awesome. And just using real people's testimonials. So I think that would be fun. Any other things that you think would be helpful for team calls? Is there anything you guys can think of topic-wise? If you think of any, you don't have to think of it now. If you think of any, just throw them my way. But I was thinking of next week just doing like a testimonial. What do you guys think about that? Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah. And it's a feel-good event. It's like really laid back, so everyone gets to chat, and it's kind of like a bonding. Everybody gets to talk and know each other. So, all right, I'm going to stop